Alright, what we doing out there? Hopefully you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Everything's going well for you. So I had mentioned in my last video about some of the fits being expensive, some of them not, but I wanted to kind of bring a little bit of light to there's seems to be some confusion. I get a lot of questions and stuff about um, how you should fit some of these industrial ships as far as like your Porpoise and your Orca, some prospect fittings, and just random fittings that I've had people ask about that I've ran for quite some time for the same fitting for quite some time with a lot of success. So I felt like maybe sharing some of that might help some newer players out. Maybe some people that are just getting into the command ships, or maybe some people out there that they're not sure how to fit or what to fit for. I figured maybe this might bring a little bit of light to that. So I'm not really gonna go over a whole lot of skills in this because it's just, I mean, you right click, show info and requirements. As long as you have these skills, you can use this particular module. I'm not gonna go into the explanation of why you should get level 5 of this and level 3 of that. To each their own. People want to train various skills for various things. I'm not going to get into all that. You can do what you want with your skills, but you'll have to have the required skills obviously to use these modules. So there is that. Basically, I have two different porpoise and an orca that I use pretty regular. There's a prospect sort of as a backup, and endurance as a backup. These are just sort of like side mission ships, I guess you could say. They're not main focal points. Um, these three here, let's see, these three here pretty much run the show as far as this character and boosting and compression is concerned. The Noctis obviously is just a salvage machine. It's just a beast. Um, got the salvagers, tractor beams, and such. Go over that in a little while. If that's interesting to anyone, if anyone wants to fit one for themselves. I know the deep flow rifts are back right now, and that's kind of a thing, so you don't really need a Noctis for that. I don't suggest it, but if you have one laying around, now's the time to use it. Practically, anyway. Unless you're running sites and stuff, but that's a whole other thing. Either way, so this porpoise here in particular has a rockbreaker skin on it. Nothing crazy. Kind of cool looking. I don't, again, to each their own. I don't expect people to go out and put skins on stuff. I wouldn't want you to. This is just something I had the option of doing, so I did it. I think it looks cool. Most of my regular asteroid mining guys, most of my mining fleet has something like this going on. They have different, like the rockbreaker skins on their stuff, which I think is kind of neat. But basically, this fit is for high sec. It is going to be just kind of running around in an asteroid belt. You're not really doing a whole lot. You might dip into like a point 0.6 system, point 0.5 system maybe. Definitely don't want to take this into low sec without changing this fit around a little bit. And I wouldn't recommend it anywhere else without doing some serious overhaul to this. Maybe even a secondary fit, travel fit, or something like that. But I wouldn't go too crazy with it. This is just for high sec, in my opinion, and that's where I've had the most success with it. So, just a basic boosting porpoise. Really nothing, nothing too spectacular here. 220 mil for the fit. Um, Nothing really like that. This is ship included. So 150 of that you see as the ship. Um, so not too bad in my opinion for what you get out of this ship. So it has the industrial ore compressor 1. I have chosen to go with this just simply for the price. Um, Now when you skill up, of course, the price is also going to go down a little bit. But what is required for these to run as far as your fuel costs is cheaper with your skills as far as Tech 1 stuff, which is why I also run the Tech 1 Indie Core. Let's see, I don't know where exactly it says it on it. There it is. Consumption quantity, 25 units. So You can get that down. Yeah, industrial reconfiguration base value is 125. So you can bring that down quite a bit, but Tech 2, I'll show you. Consumption quantity 250 units. So it's a pretty significant difference, and I mean you get better boosts and stuff. It's Tech 1 versus Tech 2, but if you're going to be out for a while, it depends on what you're doing. You know, this is sort of that. This sort of opens your first door of it depends on what you're doing with these ships. So you can go out with drones, just with this fit right here. You got triple bulkheads in your rigs. You have a 10 MN AB, large shield extender, and two Tech 1 multi-spec hardeners. The only reason I went with Tech 1 is just I had them sitting there. They should be Tech 2s, but they're just not. It's a high sec bit. You know, it's a point 0.8, 0.7, 0.9. As long as you're paying attention, you're not in any kind of trouble, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. Uh, Tech 2 damage control, and then of course bulkhead, Tech 2 and a low. So nothing too crazy. You see what the stats are: 10-7 on the shields, 3-6 for the armor, and then 22-4, 20. Let's call it 22-5 for the hull. Resistances aren't too bad. It's not again, not anything to write home about, but it's a boost. You know, it's a boost ship. So as far as drones go, pretty basic. Right in here, I got my other drones in another ship right now, but usually I would run. Um, I would have a set of Hobgoblin 2s, probably a set of, you know, like Warrior 2s or Valkyrie 2s or something like that, and then of course your mining drones, whatever those are going to be. I think, for instance, mine are in my Orca right now. Yeah, so I run, yeah, see the Hornet 2s there, some Salvagers, and then the augmented miners. This is something I made. I had the materials for them. I had the skills for them. I had everything I needed, so I just went ahead and made them for all my guys. Pretty, pretty noticeable improvement over Tech 2 mining drones, I'll be honest. But if it's going to be something that's out of the way for you, then I wouldn't really recommend it. They're not really worth the gap that has to be crossed to get there, in my opinion, unless you're just already set up for it. So, again, nothing too crazy, pretty straightforward. Um, we got two mining foreman burst 2s up here, running the laser field enhancement and the laser optimization. So what those are going to do, improve the range of your mining laser and survey scanner. And then what this is going to do, 25 bonus to the effective all strength of mining foreman burst charges launched from this module. Alright, so that's what these mining foreman bursts do. So they add like their bonus to them. And this is increased yield over time. So you get more range and you get more yield. You get compression. And you also get the boost from the Indy core when you're in the fleet with him as well, which I'm sure everybody kind of already knows, but you get the boost from that as well. So all these affect your drones as well. And of course, these are going to scale with what your skills are and such. But that is a look at one of the porpoises that I have. One of the porpoise. I don't know what you want to say there. It sounds weird anyway you say it. So the other porpoise would be, let's see, this guy here, which does not have any kind of skin on it. That's going to be a little bit different setup. So we have two large shield extender 2s, a multi-spec 2, same rig setup, same low setup. We put a gas compressor, an improvised cloaking device, the Tech 2, the laser optimization charge, and then a Tech 1 Indy core. And what this guy does is a little bit of cloak micro sometimes in not so friendly areas of space. He's got some mining drones, a couple ogres in there, some hornets in there, core probe launcher and probes. just in case. You never know. So I've taken a couple of things out of his inventory. Usually there would be some other, yeah, see he's got an asteroid compressor here too, just in case. We got a mobile depot. Should have been a mobile depot in there. But I've taken a few things out to kind of swap around to some other ships and things, but normally I would run this a little bit differently. Similar to this, I would just swap out a couple of different things here, just to take into some not so friendly areas of space. But you see too, this one is also 300 million, including the ship, so quite a bit more expensive. But that also has to do with running the sister cores, probes, and launcher. So it's a pretty significant amount there. Also the gas compressor. You know, there's a few things in here that are pretty pricey. So you have to be kind of careful if you're going to take this one somewhere that these ships normally wouldn't be going. So I have to keep that in mind. And again, you know, change the drones accordingly for what area of space you might be taking this to. If you're going into low sec or something with it, I wouldn't recommend this. It's going to be kind of hard to really get anything accomplished, especially with the cycle time on your indie core. You have 2 minutes once it's activated till it's deactivated and you can move again. So think about it like if you've heard the Bastion module for a Marauder. It's the same concept. You have a 2 minute period where you are locked down and are not moving unless you're being pushed, which is not fun. So keep that in mind too. Use this in certain times, which is why it has the improvised cloak. And there are some situations you can get away with undocking at a station. You're just sitting there running your indie core, compress, do what you need to do, and dock back up before you get caught. Again, I don't recommend it. You're gonna get caught. It's gonna happen. Someone's gonna catch it. If anyone's paying attention to what you're doing, they're gonna know. So, a couple different, very basic. You know, again, these are nothing to live by. I would not recommend these fits to anybody. These are just things that I've kind of thrown together and mismatched here, taken from and added to. I would not recommend this to anybody. So take that with a grain of salt. If you want to use this, use them your own way. You know, put your own spin on them because these are by no means perfect. They're not any sort of what you would consider a meta or anything like that. Nothing like that. This is just showing people that may be confused or don't understand or not sure. Like this is just a very basic fit that'll get you by. So when it comes to the Orca, this is a fit for high sec that I have in my particular area of space. Again, we're running the bulkhead 2s for the rigs, or reinforced bulkhead for a low, and then a sentient damage control also down there. Got a 50 MN micro warp drive, which is undersized. In my opinion, yeah, that's undersized, but if you try to fit anything else on here, it's probably not going to work, and I really don't feel like screwing around with this, plus it's a high sec fit. It goes 20 AU to a belt, and then 20 AU back to a station. I'm not really worried about it. So we got the thermal and EM shield hardeners here. Again, this is for my particular area of space that I'm in. There's let's see, we have a Pith B type and C type multi-spec, and then we have a Pith X and just A. It gives us a pretty respectable amount of resistances. Here you see 42, 43k HP, 4500 a second, and then our resists are into the 80s. So not too bad. Pretty solid there. 128,000 hull, 43,000 shield. Uh, Nothing too bad. 580k HP. Again, these can go way higher. I know, I've seen them way higher. I'm not trying to min-max anything. This is just a high sec fit. That line time, don't let that fool you. It's not really what that is. As far as what the fit is, though, we have a large asteroid compressor 1 again because of the cost. Large industrial core 2, and this was because I was running 4 or 5 hulks at the time. I had a couple of people with me, and we were just trying to get the most out of what we were doing at the time. This will probably go back to a Tech 1 just because I am, quite frankly, you'll run pretty much a fuel bay. With the skills I have right now, I'll run through almost 3/4 of a fuel bay doing a belt in high sec, running the Tech 2 Type A crystals, which gives you the longer cycle times, but gives you more of a yield. Clearing out a whole belt with those across 5 other characters, I will burn through almost an entire fuel tank, just about 3/4, about 3/4, before it gets done. And that's running Tech 2. Tech 1 is about a quarter, give or take. And again, you know, 2 mining foreman burst 2s, you got the laser optimization, and then the laser field enhancement, so range and yield. The shield command burst 2 with the shield extension charge. Pretty straightforward. Nothing really again to write home about. Got the MTU, couple thousand of our ammunition here. Running some Hornet 2s, some augmented miners, some warriors, some salvage drones. Lead hangar there, I need to refuel. So pretty, you know, again, pretty straightforward. This is extremely pricey. You know, you can take 2 bill off of this just for the Orca hull. It's still going to cost you 2 bill. You're going to make this back, and it's well worth it. If you can get to the point where you can pilot this ship with this fit, you're pretty much printing ISK at that point. You don't really have, it's one of those, again, what I refer to as a plateau point. Once you're in this ship, it's pretty much a plateau. There's no reason to go with the Rourke, in my opinion, unless you're already in a setup where people are reliant on something like that with those kind of skill points. The average everyday player, this right here, between this and the 2 Porpoise fits there, this is going to cover everything you're ever going to do. Between ice, ore, gas, anything you're ever going to do is going to be right here. Couple little fits here off to the side we can kind of go over is the we'll go over the prospect. So this one is sort of a multi-fit, and it's sort of a, I don't want to say a janky fit, but again, it's a prospect. You know, you got 6,000 HP. You're only doing so much. But this is 55 mil for the ship and fit, everything included. We've got 2 gas cloud scoops 2. We've got the covert ops cloak, 5 MN micro compact EM hardener, and a small shield extender. Compact multi-spectrum energized membrane, 2 eye stabs, and a damage control, Tech 2. Pretty much all of this stuff is Tech 2. And then 2 Tech 1 transverse bulkheads for the rigs. Nothing bling, nothing crazy. Inventory, we got the probe launcher and probes, mobile depot, and 2 miner 2s. Swap out or whatever you want to be doing. That is it. Very basic. Very straightforward. Not a lot of frills here. Like I said the other day in the video, you know, a lot of my ships are not all crazy, super expensive fits, intricate things. What you see is what you get. They have a practical use. And I try to keep it that way. I don't get outlandish with a lot of my fits. I don't get super crazy with a lot of them. At the end of the day, these are tools that are being used that are very likely going to be lost. So I don't want to go too crazy with them. But again, I'm not, there's a lot that I'm not going over here. The ship itself, I'm not going to go over a whole lot. As far as the ships and things, skills and stuff, I'm not going to go over a lot of that stuff. This is just kind of my setup and the way that I play. And if anyone's curious or might want to know how this works or that works or whatever the case might be, maybe you can take something away from some of these videos. I'll do a couple more fit videos just to see. I have run a multitude of ships across all these characters, so there's likely something that someone is trying to work out a fit for. That I'd be like, hey, check this out. Here's a run-of-the-mill basic PvE fit for you, or a PvP fit. Nothing crazy. Start here. Tech 1, Tech 2. Nothing crazy. At the end of the day, you don't have to throw a lot of money at these ships for them to be what you need them to be. So here, same thing. We got the endurance. This is made mostly for ice mining. It's got a ton of ice harvester yield or high ice harvester bonus on it. So we've got 3 ice harvester upgrade 2s in the lows, 2 small shield extenders, 5 MN micro, and a Tech 2 multi-spec. This has a core defense shield extender 2 and a processor overclocking unit 1. We've got the prototype cloak 1 and an ice mining laser 2. You can go with the probe launcher up there, unless you're going to be doing shattered systems. There's really no reason to. There's no like anomalies or anything, ice anomalies or anything like that I know of. Really, I'm sure there is somewhere in space, but I have no idea. I haven't encountered them yet, so this is very basic for just like the Winter Nexus. This is a pretty solid fit for that. You can run 2 of those. I'm not sure if you can run 2 of those. I think you can run 2 of those lasers. Drop the cloak and run a second laser or something. Either way, I don't remember if you can or not, but you see though, it's 50 million for the fit. Ship included. We did go for some integrated hobgoblins and integrated acolytes, mostly for skills and damage purposes, just because I'll pay a couple extra dollars to keep these dudes able to kill some rats. Like for instance, if you're mining ice in low sec and you're trying to sneak east, make a couple pieces of ice out of there. There's a rat that shows up, cruiser rat, whatever, battleship rat. As long as you just orbit him or your ice piece that you're getting, throw your drones at him, you should be fine, as long as no one comes and messes with you. But again, very basic fit. There's nothing in the cargo right now. Very basic, nothing in the mining hold. Pretty straightforward fits, very practical fits. Let's see what else we got here. I don't remember if the Squall has anything. I think it's just a runner basically right now. I'll look at the Noctis just because I've seen more people flying these, but I still haven't seen very many of them out there. I set this up basically for running sites. Like I was running a lot of rated DED sites and stuff, and there was just room after room, 30, 40, 50 salvages I was leaving behind at a time. And a lot of people look at it, including myself, as like, oh, high-sec salvage, that's disgusting. Why would you even waste the time to do that? Well, it does add up. And if you're trying to make Tech 1 rigs, Tech 2 rigs, some of the Tech 2 rigs require some of this stuff, lower end salvage, some Tech 1 rigs and stuff. If you're trying to make those for any reason, whether it's faction warfare or you're just trying to sell them for, 100,000 ISK a piece or whatever they sell for, yeah, as a cheap entry, as far as industry goes. Take that with a grain of salt. But you can do that with high-sec salvage, and it's cheap. Doesn't take a lot to get into it. You don't need a Noctis to do it. This is just the setup that I decided to go with here. Got the salvagers, not paying for salvager 2s. not skilling into salvage or twos. Is again, it's just not worth it to me, in my opinion. Maybe to other people, but to me, I'm not gonna do it. So the fit we got here, we're running a 4 salvager ones, 3 tractor beam ones, and a prototype cloak. Pretty straightforward. Now 50 MN micro. We got a hull rep 2 in there just because. Just because. There's really no reason. I just wanted to. Honestly, I figured if things go south, at the very least, I can have that while I'm trying to get out of somewhere. Because I have had a couple close calls with not paying attention in a couple of these deep flow rifts. And if anyone's tried them this year in 2025, they are kind of beefy. I'm not sure why they buffed them so much, but it's a little over the top in my opinion. So I kind of went with something that I figured I might have a chance of getting out with. But you see the 21-second rep cycle is horrendous. So that's a kind of one-shot thing. Like, as you're warping away. So it's just more of a comical thing. I was talking to a friend at the time, and he's like, oh man. It just sort of went with it. Got a warp core stab, capacitor flux coil, reactive armor hardener in here. Again, I don't recommend these fits to anybody. And if you do use them, use them with a grain of salt. Adjust them. Fit them accordingly. If you don't understand or don't like that this is here, don't know why this is there or what's there, get rid of it. Put something else in there. This isn't written in stone. It's Eve. Fit these ships how you want. That's why I'm showing this video. Is because I fit them how I want. It might help somebody do something similar. But being the Noctis is the ship that it is, this is the way that I chose to fit it. So I've gone for salvage tackle ones in the rigs, and that's what I use to do all my site salvage with in HiSec. It's a 1400 M3 is pretty big cargo. You're never gonna run out of space. You can take this thing from MTU to MTU. You can use it in wormholes. You can do what you want to with it. It's very much like the Porpoise. It has an array of things it is capable of doing for whatever the job at hand is, where you don't want to take in something big like the Orca, which is capable of all of this stuff at one time. But again, it's 4 billion-isk. Like, who wants to do that? Nobody. So that's sort of a quick look at some of the fits that I use and some of the use cases for them and the way that I run them majority of the time. There are some of these that I'm going to change around a little bit, that I'm going to update here and there. It's just something that I haven't really had a need to do, and I haven't, quite frankly, parked everyone long enough to do that yet. But it is something that's coming in the future, so these fits will probably change a little bit. I might do another video later on down the line, maybe. People are curious about it. But again, I don't recommend a lot of these to anybody. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, take this fit and use it. This is the gospel. No, this isn't. This is just showing people what I have set up here. This is how I use these guys in the way that I play. So right now, like I said, there's 6 accounts here. This is just one salvaging guy. So this is just a boosting, salvaging dude that it's just one guy, and I just figured I would kind of show off a little bit of what he does, because while there are a lot of fleets out there and a lot of mining fleets and stuff, there's not a lot of discussions about, hey, this fit like this, or this is the reason I fit this way, or you want to fit tank here or there. But again, you fit accordingly for your area of space, and that's something that will take you further than just throwing money at a ship. So I might put out a couple other videos here, some of the other guys and what they do, some of their more specialized things, kind of like this. Again, this is just to show people this is what it looks like with this many accounts. This is what all these guys are doing. And I don't know if I'll do videos on every single one of these guys, because let's be honest, that's like 20 videos by itself. Nah, I don't know about all that, unless people just want to see that. I don't know. Let me know. If you do, you do. We'll make it. But If not, I'll put out a couple of little fit videos and maybe a couple more site videos and kind of get a feel for what, if anybody wants to see stuff like this, we'll see. So, I appreciate you for checking it out. If you learned something here, cool, give it a like. Let me know if you want to see something else. If you didn't like something, or if I said something incorrectly, or if you feel if it isn't exactly up to snuff, let me know. By all means, let me know. This is how things like this get better. You don't know until you start talking to people about this stuff. So this is just where I've come to be in the game so far and what I've needed to get done. So having said that, I appreciate you for checking it out. Give it a like if you like it. If you learned something, cool, let me know. If not, let me know. I'll change it up. But hopefully you have a good one. Good day, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully things are going to go well for you. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.